God's own medicine. Nothing is bothering me. Around 6 o'clock, the leg was starting to bother me again. Now, nothing is bothering me. Most of today I spent on the couch.
Oh, yeah?
Listening to the Atmospheres channel. That's New Age music. I don't know why. Sometimes I listen to light classical. But today I was in the mood for Atmospheres. I was doing visualizations.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I was trying to, as the music was following the rhythm of the music, I had light flowing up through my body, trying to cure the pain in the leg. Between that and the muffins, I finally got rid of the pain, but it took a long time. Sometimes it's quicker than others. I think pain is a mistake. If I had been around at the creation, I would have had a lot of helpful suggestions, as Mencken said. And I would have said, we don't need pain. Just put a little neon light on the fire that lights up and says, see a doctor. And the friend says, hey, your sign is on, go see a doctor. You don't need pain to tell you. No, seriously, what I'm getting at is I think pain can be abolished. I don't see any reason why all forms of pain can't be abolished with the proper drugs. And I think the government's attempt to control drug research out of fear that two people may feel too good is the last dying gasp of the dinosaur age. I think we are governed by Tyrannosaurus Rex and velociraptors and types like that. I really think the abolition of pain is the noblest goal we can aim for. Also clean water for everybody and enough food. I think these are quite attainable goals. If society was saying these would be our goals. Spread clean water, adequate food, and the absence of pain all over the planet. Who would want to become a terrorist? What would they be angry about? What would they be mad enough about to start throwing bombs at somebody else?
What about the eye in the triangle?
It's rather inconspicuous, and I just want to point out how often the eye in the triangle is there. It pops up frequently, and this, of course, is the symbol of the Illuminati, the alleged secret society that controls the whole world, according to a lot of occult theories. And you'll find it on the back of your dollar bill, too.
It's great to see all your faces out there, ladies, gentlemen, and narcs. Everybody look around and see if you can spot the narcs. They're the ones who look like hippies.
For a person who's an expert in conspiracies, you're probably the least paranoid person I've ever met. You have all the data, but none of the fear that most everybody else who's involved in conspiracy theories.
Well, my belief is I don't believe in one big conspiracy that runs everything. I prefer to think there's, at minimum, at any given time, there's about 24 conspiracies afoot. And as far as I have been able to discover in all my years of being involved in, more or less unwillingly in this field, I cannot find any proof of any conspiracy that really existed, was really brought into court and convicted, that lasted more than 10 years before everybody double-crossed everybody else and the conspiracy fell apart.
When you define the power elite as somebody else, I regard that as a loser script. I define the power elite as myself and my friends, and that's a winner script. And the way to accomplish things is with a winner script. I define myself as a winner, I define my program winnable, and I count on the stupidity of whoever seems to be in power to undo them eventually, because, as I said, every conspiracy has a natural lifespan. Every conspiracy collapsed by double crosses from within or by superior cleverness by rival conspiracies. And stupidity has a definite evolutionary function. I am all for abolishing stupidity, but before it goes, while there's still a lot of it around, we should pay tribute to it.
The strongest conspiracy on the planet is the conspiracy of the stupid.
Yeah.
To prevent schools from educating their children, because they want their children to be as dumb as they are, to prevent television from putting anything intelligent on as much as possible.
What is it about the human psyche that seems to be drawn towards these conspiracy theories? Is it some love of the unknown, or some idea that there may be forces out there that are controlling our destiny? Or
Well, I think there are three factors. A, nobody likes to take the blame for their own problems, so they look for somebody else to blame. And if you can find a big enough group, you've explained everything in your life that doesn't work.
That's the parental conspiracy theory.
Yeah, it's
right?
not your fault. It's the fault. Yeah, if it's not your fault or your parents. It's the Jesuits, the Freemasons, the Jews, the Bilderbergers, the Council on Foreign Relations. You got a wide choice to pick who to blame.
Rich white man.
Yeah, as long as you don't have to blame yourself. That's one motive, and another motive is that we are living in very weird times. The world is changing faster and faster, which I think is due to the acceleration of information flow in the modern world. Information is increasing, and the transmission of information is going faster and faster due to internet and the whole computer revolution, which means that most people are living in a world they can't understand. And when people can't understand something, they tend to go for sinister explanations of it. Somebody is manipulating things in a way I don't like. That's the way people feel when things change too fast and they can't understand it. And the third reason is, of course, that there are lots of conspiracies around.
None simultaneously apprehended. Apprehended, none simultaneously, interacting processes. Interacting processes apprehended, none simultaneously.
Let me switch gears with you a little bit. I'd like to talk about your interest in occultism. You've been a student, quite a student, I think, of the writings and teachings of Aleister Crowley, who was a writer about occult magical rituals. And I believe you've participated in a variety of magical rituals. What's that about?
Well, the background is I believe that what we perceive is based on the culture of our parents and our teachers and the people around us and on the language we speak. And I'm interested in ways of changing perception. And I have a lot of exercises I've tried for changing my ways of perceiving the world and myself.
Crowley's system of magic is a system of fucking with your brain until the impossible becomes possible, and you get out of your imprinted reality tunnel into an infinity of mirrors where anything is possible. I think the major thing you can learn from Crowley is how to change your focus and look through different grids, different reality tunnels, as Leary would say.
Represents the point in our culture where science and mysticism were allied. They were both attempts to find out what the hell is going on in this universe by experimental method and by trust in the ability of the individual to figure out what the hell is going on just through the method of experiment. And anyway, that's the background is experiments on altering consciousness and perceived reality tunnels. In Bruno's day, it was the three terms were divided up differently. You had science and mysticism on one side and religion on the other side. Science and mysticism were allied in their struggle against religion. Science and mysticism were both based on experience, and they were both based on respect for the individual. The idea of science and mysticism was go out and discover for yourself. Find out what works. Find out how the universe is actually structured and how you relate to the structure of the universe. And so there were basically two areas of scientific exploration, the external and the internal. But they were both pursued by the same method, the experimental method. Originally I was just trying to find out what the hell is a mystical experience. But then I very soon got the idea of re-imprinting, and then I got the idea of using Crowley's magic along with the re-imprinting. Ritual is to the internal sciences what experiment is to the external sciences. Mysticism, understood in that way, is basically a branch of science. It's a branch of neuroscience. what Timothy Leary calls neurologic, as distinguished from orthodox neurology, which involves dissecting animals or dissecting corpses or something. Neurologic is studying the nervous system directly by varying the parameters on which your nervous system functions.
There are different levels of reality, obviously, and the psychedelic level is one of the most fascinating ones, one of the most erotic, one of the most mystical, and above all, one of the funniest. I recommend it highly to everybody over 40. I'm not going to repeat Leary's mistake. I don't recommend it to anybody under 40. Over 40, you're on your own. You're responsible for yourself. Don't blame me for it.
The name Are You Serious comes from directly from Robert Anton Wilson, actually, the book Cosmic Trigger, in which he goes into the serious mysteries. And it's also, I mean, one of the great books for just raising your level of clarity and intelligence and psychedelic humor and everything you could possibly want from a book. Cosmic Trigger was the mother lode.
Those of you who have read my book, Cosmic Trigger, know, a lot of you. Oh, hey, that's very flattering. You all know what happened on July 23rd, 1973. That was the day I achieved contact with an extraterrestrial from Sirius, or started hallucinating like mad, depending on which way you want to look at it. I have varied between both theories over the years. But I just found out recently, since I'm a student of synchronicity, this one really struck me. July 23rd, 1973 was also the birthday of Monica Lewinsky.
Around 1973, I became convinced for a while that I was receiving messages from outer space. But then a psychic reader told me I was actually channeling an ancient Chinese philosopher. And another psychic reader told me I was channeling a medieval Irish bard. And at that time, I started reading neurology, and I decided it was just my right brain talking to my left brain. And then I went to Ireland, and I found out it was actually a 6-foot-tall white rabbit. They call it the puka, and the Irish know all about it. So it depends on who I'm talking to, which of these metaphors I use to explain where these weird patterns come from that jump out of the books and take hold of the readers and change their lives. It's not me, it's a 6-foot-tall white rabbit from County Kerry.
Well, looking back, I accept that metaphor as pretty accurate. All writers are channelers in some sense. Faulkner talked about the demon that dictated his books to him. Norman Mailer talks about the navigator in the unconscious. William Blake said the prophets Ezekiel and Isaiah dictated his poetic, prophetic books to him. Most artists traditionally have talked about the muse. And for people in County Kerry, it's a 6-foot-tall white rabbit. For me, it was an extraterrestrial from Sirius. There are different metaphors for the experience.
Philip K. Dick and I had a series of rather similar experiences, and out of his experiences he constructed to Alice, which looks like a science fiction story most of the way, and then abruptly at the end you suddenly find out maybe it's not a science fiction story, maybe it's an account of Philip K. Dick going crazy, or maybe it's an account of Philip K. Dick being contacted by extraterrestrials. Well, the Cosmic Trigger has pretty much the same structure. So Robert Anton Wilson being contacted by extraterrestrials. No, it's Robert Anton Wilson going crazy. No, it's just Robert Anton Wilson experimenting with alternative realities and coming out of Chapel Perilous at the end without believing in any of them. The structures are very similar because they were based on very similar experiences. I woke up after doing a ritual to the Holy Guardian Angel. I woke up with this vivid memory of this guy with a long white beard, long white beard, like Mr. Natural. As an old white man, looking rather like Jehovah in the illustrated Bible, writing on a blackboard things about time that I was supposed to memorize. serious is very important to you.